friends, my children! When one is leaving your old life behind, make a party of it! Even if the party crashers are blood-sucking monsters.
Terry and his cousin Ashley are at the Empire State Building awaiting their friends for a going-away party for Terry. He's turning down a scholarship to go serve in Afghanistan, and she's insisting he have the party despite her own objections to what seemed to be a very impulsive decision. He's already broken up with his girlfriend, Mary, and we soon see the rest of their friends, including Mary, arrive to let him see the view of New York. All that he's leaving behind. They managed to get such good tickets into the tower thanks to Mary's father, whose company is doing major renovations to the place. Apparently, they found something weird on the 75th floor, and that has the workers all occupied. And said workers are indeed examining it. A hidden room with an iron door and no sprinkler system, covered in tribal paintings that may be as old as the tower itself. Digging deeper into the tiles of the ceiling, something falls through it and into the room, and several homeless people suddenly find themselves drawn to the tower. Also in the place is Jackson, a courier who is friends with an office worker named Gabrielle, and is interested in her. But what we're interested in are the homeless people who enter, who actually are vampires. They swarm into the tower and begin slaughtering everyone in their path, ascending the tower and feasting on the blood of the inhabitants as they go. Terry and Mary are separated from their friends, soon holding up with Gabrielle and Jackson in an office area, and many other survivors, as they lock and barricade the doors to try to figure out what's going on. Also trying to figure out what's going on are the FBI and the police, who have arrived to surround the tower after getting reports of terrorism in the place.
I mean, when you think about it, vampires do like to spread terror, so I guess you could call them terrorists.
Several victims are brought to the 75th floor by the vampires as sacrifices to a creature inside of the room. One with mouths all over its body. It uses them to feast more directly on the humans, hugging their bodies to him as the mouths feast.
Aw, hugs and smooches! This is a love vampire!
Terry leads a group of survivors out of their barricaded office, thinking that the creatures will eventually find their way into the office, especially given the strength and brutality they've already shown. They witness the lead creature devouring the blood of the victims, and their friends are next. They can do nothing to help, especially when it seems like some of the vampires are suspicious of their position and continue down the tower. Mary saying they can try to go for her father's office, where there's a master key, as many of the floors have locked doors. When a SWAT team is slaughtered by the vampires, they find the office, but no key, just blueprints to the tower that will still be useful. The FBI are aided by Professor Dent, who is in charge of the renovations of the tower. When they analyze the footage of the vampires, he can tell that the language that they're speaking is a form of Iroquois with a Mohawk root. And indeed, members of the Mohawk tribe helped build the Empire State Building originally. Mind you, the professors also said that the other tribes called them man-eaters, which is a bit misleading. It's more about how they were very fierce warriors.
What? I read other things than comics. It's just I like comics more.
They lose Gabrielle over a scaffolding when they try to flee down it away from some vampires. Those snipers from across the street assist them along the way. The snipers report that bullets do not stop the vampires. They are not humans wearing bulletproof vests, and the only thing that puts them down permanently is fire. Professor Dent and their linguist, Professor Shantae, identify the language they're speaking and the words they say. They speak of being the Hamatsa, an actual part of Kwakiatl mythology, which includes a being with mouths all over its body that transforms people into man-eating birds. I do not know how accurate the comic version is, but probably not that accurate, since it says some anthropologists describe them as a cult of cannibals that would turn people into vampiric beings that worshipped gruesome gods, including one called Otolunta, who is supposed to have died 1,000 years ago, but the cult kept his body in hiding until the day it could be resurrected, keeping it as high in the sky as possible. And thus the cult managed to hide him in the Empire State Building during its construction. Otolunta himself awakens his victims, including Terry's friends, as vampires, and orders them out into the city to begin slaughtering the world. Professor Dent, it turns out, is Mary's father, and through a police radio he tells Terry to protect her and get her out of there as quickly as possible. The vampire swarm makes its way down, even Terry's friend's old cousin, who he has to chop up with an axe. Jackson is killed by the vampires as they flee down an elevator, while the swarm tries to hit the streets outside the tower. Fortunately, the FBI is prepared, armed with flamethrowers to repel the attack. The vampires retreat, but only for now. Utolunta begins using his powers to summon a hurricane to douse the flames. They establish firewalls around the tower, preventing Terry and Mary from escaping, and then do the only thing they can think of: replace the water in the pipes of the tower with gasoline, which they intend to ignite and burn the vampires and the tower away. Dent objects because his daughter is inside, but there's nothing they can do. If the vampires spread, the entire country, the entire world is in danger. And if they warn her, they warn the vampires too.
I feel like the vampires will figure out what you're doing thanks to the smell of gasoline pouring all over them.
He warns her anyway, and they figure out a plan. Utolunta's tomb in the tower was protected by an iron door and doesn't have sprinklers in it. It might be the only safe place from the flames, though not safe from Utolunta, who remains in the area, and they have to fight him off. Thanks to a handy blowtorch, Terry sets the fire early, as the helicopters meant to light the place up had to retreat due to the hurricane, and both the creature and the vampires are burnt to ashes. It is some time before people can enter again, once more putting water into the sprinklers. Fortunately, despite the heat and smoke, Terry and Mary live, and the survivors are being drafted into a government program to try to study and understand what happened about the vampires. And Utolunta's remains were not found. But then, he has apparently been reincarnated several times over the 1,000 years to try this. So what new place high in the sky will he find himself inside of next?
There are still some unanswered questions in the story, but it feels like a proper movie, just distilled into a comic. The Towering Inferno meets Die Hard meets 30 Days of Night.
Mad, it was so mad. Mad, it was so mad.